In terms of hate and prejudice, I have experienced verbal abuse, physical abuse, people staring at me. As a child, when I was small and obviously wasn't wearing a veil, my mum would often be in the street and people would shout at her. I've had it with my aunts. Recently, someone chucked her basket when she was in the supermarket. Even as I was growing up, it was almost normal to me. But when I did start wearing the veil, people shouted at me. It wasn't like it was something bad because I'd grown up being used to people shouting at us in the street anyway. So yeah, it happens so often in our community. And I know friends whose mums have been victims of hate crime. They themselves have been victims of hate crime. When we've even been as a school on trips to, for example, Greater Manor Park, we've had people shout names at us while we're in the park as a school.
The hate crimes I've mainly experienced in my life is due to my weight. Being overweight, we constantly picked on being overweight. The recent example I can give you, I was at a restaurant with my friends, this man approached me. He gave me a little bit of food in my hand, which was probably a bit of tortilla chips or an olive. He said, "That's all you need," and then in a very aggressive manner. And then my friends at the time weren't there. They'd actually gone out for a smoke, and one of them got to use the toilet. And he just went off on one. He started telling me his brother died of obesity, being overweight. I should have been eating off a menu like that. I completely was in shock. He was a lot larger bloke than I was, a far bigger person than I was, and I felt terrified of him, what he would do to me if I had to give him any back chat. Yeah, some years ago, myself and the two friends were on the bus, and he sat from a distance on the back of a top deck bus. We were on the top deck of the bus. He sat up distance, and then he didn't like the way he looked of us. He came over, questioned my friend, and just started chatting to him, talking to him, and as you do, you kind of started with a polite conversation, and then that polite conversation about just generally was just asking about himself, his personality, moved on to saying if he was a terrorist, and even though being an Asian man himself, we thought that's a bit funny, and then he started screaming his head off, shouting, "You terrorist, get off the bus." My friend obviously was so intimidated, frightened of him. He went downstairs. My friend behind him was sitting. He went straight downstairs. I decided to challenge him. I started to stand my ground, and he said, I'm telling you, I'm speaking the truth, isn't it? I said, I don't know you. Why are you shouting at us? We don't know you. Coming over to us and you raising your voice, shouting out, I said to him, I said, "You're one of them, aren't you, terrorists? Or you're terrorists as well." And he constantly was very aggressive, and he kept banging his hand on the railings while I was shouting, so clearly he wanted to throw his fist at me. I still wanted to challenge this guy, I thought, no, it's bigger than me, step down, take a walk. it's only going to end up being beaten up and end up in an A&E department, so I thought I'd best to just get off the bus myself without safety, and I got off the bus. I felt very belittled by him and his presence. Very small, because we intimidated by someone like that, makes you feel small. And we all got off the bus. We stood further way down. With this particular bus we were on, we had to catch him because he was going to take us all home. But then he started walking up the street towards us aggressively. And I said to my friends, "Let's go down to the police station and we'll feel a lot more safer." The police station wasn't too far. We're in the city centre. We all went straight to the police station. And again, it was just one guy against three. It was just, but none of us were violent. None of us were in a place where we could have hit him, because we just weren't like that. I'm certainly he must have been fantastic, empowered by his actions, because he's intimidated not just one, two, but three blokes here. And he must have felt fantastic by doing that. So yeah, we went to the police station, reported him, and by the time we came out of the police station, it disappeared. Later on, we did see him around places in the town, but He used to see him stick his two fingers at us or something like that.
I was getting on the bus on the 17 and the 50, someone said to me, "Look at you, terrorists. We don't want no bloody fat, ugly bastard terrorists on our bus. Go away. Go to your own country." But what they said to me made me angry. I went to the police again, and they did nothing.
I mean, it's almost silly to talk about it, because when we talk about sometimes at school, we talk about the names that sometimes we're called, and often we joke and laugh with each other, like, "Oh, haven't you heard that one yet?" Or, "Oh, you've never been called that," sort of thing. Like, I mean, a few of the names that are constantly called to us are Ninja and Postbox. So often we laugh about it, and we even sometimes call each other that as a joke, which is quite bad because it just shows how common it is in our community. And I feel wary going outside because I know that people will look at me, stare at me. I don't go out often alone, but when I do feel quite cautious about. I try to sort of keep myself under the radar and not be noticed, because I don't want people to notice me, because if they do, they might say something, and that's not what I want to happen. So yeah, it does have an impact, because you try to keep yourself as low profile as you can.
Well, this day and age, I mean, right this present moment in time, I mean, I'm still a victim of hate crime. I mean, I have low self-esteem. I mean, like most people, you know, when I get out that front door, I feel I have to put my armour on, you know, because I feel I'm going to battle. It doesn't feel like I'm going to have another just a day out. It might turn into a sour day. It won't be just a peaceful day out. Somebody might approach me, someone might pick on me. So it feels I have to put the armour on, I feel I have to be strong and brave and try to take in whatever's going to happen, whatever kind of abuse I will have to go through. But there's not a lot I can do about it. I believe in my head, I believe strongly, with all the experiences throughout my life, over the years. I mean, I've been bullied since the day when I've been born, so you can imagine now the age of, 36 this year, so 36 years on, I feel strongly inside my head I live in a violent society.
Make me like hitting them, lashing out my temper.
I reported it to police. Yep, they didn't really get back to me at all until I kept chasing them up, and eventually they said it was closed, the case was matter. Before I filed a complaint, it was closed already. It was not seen as priority to deal with it, but they don't know what I've been through that time. The evidence was there was CCTV camera, there were witnesses. It was a daytime, the incident occurred. I think it was a Friday quite busy. And they again saw a man yelling and shouting at me throughout the whole front of other people, other customers, and so I'm sure there'll be plenty of witnesses to come forward. But yeah, nothing happened. They couldn't find him. It was a needed haystack job. So yeah, I was gutted by that, and it just felt, that there was no justice really for people who are victims of hate crime. I don't think there's a lot they do. It's a tricky question. Again, I don't know how the law works, but it feels to me it's weak, and we can get away with breaking the law. I think very much would be easy. A lot of people these days commit crimes, such as mine. But these are when I reported these hate crimes to the police, they classed them to me as minor offences. Yeah, minor to them. For me, it's not minor. That's like a half an hour or so of an ordeal there to go through. Trapped, and kind of like put through that for half an hour of abuse, and but it's a minor offence. It's just kind of like, for them, it's not murder, it's not rape, it's not armed robbery, it's just a minor offence, someone, giving someone abuse, let's just get on with it, move on, It's not the case, it's not a minor offence, it damages you psychologically. I mean, as I said, I'm psychologically damaged now completely, to the extent where, it's so hard for me to get through life day to day without worrying, without being in a place panicking and just, that way we are in what situation. So they don't see that the police do. They don't see that the damage is common, but they should do a lot more. I feel they should. I think more reasons is just they won't do much. Is just don't think anything of it. I mean, the case that I reported one in the restaurant, I mean, they didn't even have the courtesy to phone me back and say, by the way, sorry, but we're not going to take this matter any further. They didn't even have the courtesy to tell me that. I had to chase them up just to find out. And they rang me up later and said, would you like to answer questions of our survey? They're having a laugh at you. Why would I answer questions of your survey? I'll just say it's all been rubbish from the beginning to end,
I'll tell them, take it serious. It's not a slap on the wrist.
The police were quite helpful, but I felt like if there was more support, even if it wasn't finding the perpetrator, just more support on how you should move on afterwards. I mean, there is victim support available, but that's only if you ask for it. I think it should be more of a, you get the support whether you need it or not, because I wasn't going to call a hotline. I mean, you get a letter saying, oh, here's some victim support, if you need more support, call the hotline. Shouldn't you be giving them the support because they are a victim immediately rather than having to call or ask for support, because some people aren't going to ask for support?
I think it's, again, the services I attend, Strides, it's more kind of an organisation where it's fun. It's for people, mental health service users, people who have just had a history of mental health, who get treatment for mental health, who can just get away and be in that side of the community and get along with people who are in that community of themselves and have fun, just to feel. As I say, you do need to be around good people, not all bad people. So there's some places where you can go, communities where there are good people. So, but I mean, I think victim support, they do counselling, but yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I think it does need to kind of step up and give that people the opportunity to get support and help, and otherwise. They end up being in a place where, too frightened or too scared, or it damages their confidence.
Even as young people who don't wear the veil, they sometimes get the, the stereotype of being a young person, and for them to have a support forum would be really good as well. I think that would be a really good idea, because young people also need to learn that other people are different. So maybe a support for young people who are victims, and also a sort of educational part to it, of telling other people to respect others' views and beliefs and how they are, or how they look, or how they are just generally.